10 key principles at any negotiation. So the whole idea is, first thing first, at any negotiation, we need to do something before, and then, something after. So that's why I would like to ask you, this is a car, and then this is a house. And then, for this kind of situation, can this car go to the destination or not? Why not? Someone say no. Even, I didn't see the hands, but I heard someone say no. But if you think that, this situation cannot make the car go to the destination, and then why? Why? Sorry? You mean the staker? The cars? So, okay, so can you elaborate a little bit more why this kind of set cannot go to the destination? It is because cannot connect it. Very good idea, but it's not what I would like to say. Any other better ideas? I would say it is because the sequence is not correct, right? It should be like this. If the cow is here, then the cow can drag this car, and then in the end, go to the destination. So sequence is important. At any negotiation, we say that, there are something which is very obvious, but there are something which is not so obvious, but very essential to the negotiation itself. As a negotiator, you need to know it. What are those things obvious in any negotiation? The first could be, someone may think that, negotiation is debating, is arguing. It is quite obvious, right? But is it essential? We will talk about it later. Someone may think that in a negotiation is try to bargaining to get as much as you can. It's quite obvious, but is it essential? May not be that case. So that's why, in any negotiation, in the end, we conclude that there are 10 key principles to tell you that, what are those 10 more essential things you need to do before all those obvious action items. So this is an idea created by my colleagues, Professor Alain Lemaitre, and then Professor Aurélien Cosson. They try to develop this idea, and then I will use their idea to tell you those 10 first thing first key principles. So before I telling you the first one, I would like to ask you to share with your ideas first. What are those key to success in any negotiation? Before my presenting more, if I ask you what are those key to success in any negotiation, what you will tell me? Okay, yes.
Making sure that the other party knows that you understand what it is they're seeking.
So make sure your counterpart knows your motivation.
No, that you, well, perhaps, but basically that they feel heard, that you're listening to them. That you're
make
not
sure
arriving with an idea like this.
Okay. Make sure that they know you are listening to them. Empathy. Okay.
You understand what they're trying to get.
Okay. Understand what they're trying to get. Very good. Understand your counterpart. Very good idea. Any other idea? Yes. Be sure to have a win-win situation.
Try to be in a win-win situation.
Try to have a win-win mentality. Very good. Yes? Prepare everything before. I think you saw my slides, right? Because exactly. Prepare before any action item. So if I tell you the second one is also prepare, what should be the third? Prepare. So that's why I would like to share with you some words from the former U.S. President Abraham Lincoln. He said that if I have 8 hours to chop down a tree, I'll spend the 6 hours to sharpening my axe. What it means? It means that sometimes preparation is more important than the action item itself. And then it is aligned with our research result and then practical experience in the negotiation field. We find that there are 80% of the chance you will win or lose has been decided away from before you're going to the negotiation table. So preparation is very important than any negotiation action item. So that's why the first principle I would like to share with you is doing any negotiation action, you need to prepare, before you're really going into the negotiation table. But the next follow-up question should be, how you prepare, what you should prepare. If we all believe that preparation is important for any negotiation, and then what you should prepare. Okay, some of you has already said that, make sure that, I have already prepared enough information, understand our counterpart, so I can show my empathy. And then some of you have already said that prepare your win-win mentality. But who can tell me more? What did you prepare? Yes?
Define your objective and the less you can go.
Yes, so your objective, your bottom lines, very good. Anything else? What do you prepare? A good cup tea, a good coffee, some cookies? There is something more important than this. What did you prepare? Yes?
You collect information and after it can serve you during the negotiation.
Very good, but what kind of information you should prepare?
Like all kind of information.
Very good. But this kind of question cannot help you to solve your challenge, right? If you know we need to prepare all the information before the negotiation, what can you really prepare?
But on the
Person.
on
His
his work,
word, yes.
yeah, of the company, of his hobbies, like everything about him or.
But what you are mentioning now is more people-related information. There's something which is away, beyond the people-related information, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. So everything, as you say. So if we, according to our discuss until now, you may know that now you are lacking a systematic, structuralized way to prepare. We prepare information, we prepare the motivation, we prepare the personal background and profile information. But what's the completed list? You didn't have it, right? So that's why now I would like to share with you, our understanding about how to prepare any negotiation. According to our research result, based on our research result and then the practical experience from our teaching executive or from all around the world, we find that if you would like to prepare well your negotiation, if you don't want to miss any points, you should prepare, but you didn't prepare, and then you should know this is a 3-dimension, 10 elements to prepare the negotiation. The 3 dimensions are who and what and how. And then, the 10 elements, let me tell you one by one. First is what. What means, what's the substance of the negotiation? It means that, deep motivation. Why we need to know our counterpart's motivation? It is beforehand, all the negotiation theory or practice focus a lot on the position. Okay, how to defend my position, how to attack my counterpart's position. But in 1980s, there's a group of Harvard professors. In the end, they find that, if you like to create win-win, we always say win-win. If you like to create win-win solution, you need to go beyond position. You need to think about what's the motivation behind the position, and then you may be possible to create a win-win solution. Let me give you an example. As Brenda has already, introduced, my background, I have been a consulting manager in a consulting company. In a consulting company, most of the time as a manager, you need to assign your junior staff to travel all around the world to do the consulting project. So most of the time, our dialogue will be like this. There's a junior young staff, and then I'm the manager. I tell my young staff, I say, hey, next week, you need to fly to Chicago to do a consulting project for 6 months. Most of the time, my junior staff may say yes, but it's not always like that. Maybe my junior staff may tell me that, no, I have already traveled a lot over the past years, so now I don't want to travel anymore. So what I will reply to him, I may tell him that, how can you say so? I'm your boss, the company pay you, you should go, right? I started bargaining the position with him. And then he may reply to me and say that, I'm an independent professional. I won't do anything I don't want to do, or I don't think I have to do. So in the end, what will happen? He may quit because he is not happy anymore in the company. Or I may fire him because I really need someone to go to Chicago. If you would like to stay in the office, the only way is I fire you, I find someone who would like to go to Chicago. So if I can go beyond the position, my position is to ask you to go. His position is he didn't want to go. So if I can go beyond this position and then only ask a very critical question, but very simple. In French, it's pourquoi. In English, it's why. If I can ask this young man, I say, why? Everyone would like to go to Chicago to, enjoy a little bit, life in U.S. Why you don't want to go to Chicago? It's a nice city. He may reply to me and say that, hey, Mr. Chao, I just got a girlfriend this week. Over the past years, I traveled too much, so I never be able to maintain the relationship. But this time, I really want it, so I have to stay, in the hometown. So I know that his motivation is not to go to Chicago. His motivation is to maintain the relationship with his girlfriend. So I may counter propose him and say that, how about this? You still go to Chicago, but I spend more money to fly you back to Asia every 2 weeks. And then every time when you fly back, I will give you a longer, we say, holidays, so you can spend more time with your girlfriend. And then he may, of course I cannot guarantee, but he may be able to maintain a relationship with his girlfriend. And then he may kind of propose me and say that, Mr. Chao, I know that, thank you so much for your thinking about my situation. So how about this? Let me try to work overtime when I was in Chicago so that I can shorten the project period from 6 months to 5 months so that you can save 1 month's project cost. And then you can convert it to my travel expense. You look, I only ask one very simple word. Why? 不管. And then in the end, it started, becoming a win-win situation, win-win solution creation. But the key is, motivation. I didn't focus only on the position. We go deep into the motivation, and in the end, we try to find a way to win together. So first, you need to prepare. What is my motivation? What is my counterpart's motivation? And then, of course, solution at the table. But we will talk more later. Now, what I would like to share with you is solution away from the table. It is very interesting. Most of the time, you are powerful is not only because you have a lot of solutions at the table. On the other hand, you have power at the negotiation table. It's because you have a good solution away from the table. Means that you dare walk away from the negotiation table. Let's imagine, one situation. Now you negotiate your annual procurement contract with your supplier, and then you only have this supplier. So now the supplier comes to the room, and then you negotiate with him, and you say 20% cost down. The supplier may reply to you and say, no way. What can you do? You may say, oh, please, 10%. And then he may say, no way, because our cost is very high. So in the end, you end the negotiation without costing down any costs. Why he didn't give you the cost down? Because he knows that he is the only single supplier for you. So if you can have the other solution away from the table, for example, like if you already have 2 potential suppliers waiting for meeting you, out of the meeting room, what you can do is you tell your supplier and say that if you cannot cost down, I'm sorry, there are 2 gentlemen over there. I will invite them to come in. What happened? Maybe your supplier will say, no problem. How much percent you want? You have power. It's not only because you have a lot of good solution. At the same time, it's because you dare walk away from the negotiation table. It is called the solution away from the table. Using the solution away from the table to exercise the power at the negotiation table. This is also one important thing you should know. And then justification criteria. When you would like to persuade someone, you need some data, some information to support. This is something you need to prepare before the negotiation, right? We cannot find all the argument immediately at the negotiation table. So that's why when you try to negotiate beforehand, you need to find a lot of information to justify your proposal. And then how means that the process, communication, logistics. We'll talk about the 2 later, so now I focus on the logistics itself. Logistics means that, the room, the setting, the lights, the air, all those logistic, physical, environment-related issues. Did you have any example would like to share how logistics influence the negotiation result? Did you have any experience? Who have this kind of experience that, the logistical environment influence the negotiation result in the end? Did you have any experience? Yes, very good.
For example, if it's too cold in the room or too warm, or you always look out of the window, the door is behind.
The light is too strong, so make you unable to think. So this is your personal experience?
Yes.
Ah.
The aircon too cold.
Sorry?
The aircon, the edges, the aircon.
Yeah, aircon is also an important issue. My real experience when I was a consultant in Accenture is, at that time I'm a procurement consultant. My expertise is strategic sourcing. So what I need to do is to help the client to cut down the costs. So I have been negotiating on behalf of my client or with my client to negotiate with the supplier. Once my client is a giant OEM company in Asia. OEM is original equipment manufacturer. Their margin is very low, right? So most of the time they earn money by cutting down the cost from the direct procurement costs. So every year when they prepare the annual procurement contract negotiation, they do prepare very well, sometimes too well. So my client, they are the giant OEM companies. When they negotiate their annual contract with their suppliers, what did they do is first they try to adjust the meeting, the negotiation table to make sure that the supplier is under the air condition, as you have already said. So it will be very cold. And then, they will start adjusting the chair to make the chair a little bit lower and then, their chair a little bit higher. So the supplier will look them up. It's not finished yet. They will prepare, water for themselves, but the supplier won't have any water. But the supplier can see there's a huge, water tank, so they can see it, but they have no water to drink. Let me tell you, this is my real experience. In the end, find that, all those physical inconvenience converted to the psychological inconvenience. So in the end, the supplier, they give up very quickly because they may feel they would like to get out of the room, as soon as possible. Of course, I didn't say that in the future you need to do so for your boss, colleagues, or staff, because, this is not really something I would like to recommend to you. But you need to know, we cannot ignore the power of the logistics-related issue. But of course, the logistics-related issue will sometimes facilitate the negotiation itself. We can talk about it later. So if we summarize 3-dimension, 10 elements to make you fully, completely prepare negotiation before you do it. The good, some example, also coming from, the ancient times. Those young philosophers in the ancient Greek, when they prepare their lecture, they not only prepare what they would like to say, they also prepare what are those questions their counterpart would like to, ask. And then they even spend more time on those, questions related, material or information to be ready to be able to reply to the question coming from the audience. So it means that, prepare before negotiation or, any action is not a modern invention. Even though in the ancient Greece, those young philosophers has already exercised this idea. So first principle, prepare before any action item. The second principle coming from relationship before any other action item. I have already mentioned to you, in the 3-dimension 10 elements negotiation preparation framework, we have one element called relationship building. But now I would like to ask you why relationship is important in any negotiation. Why prepared relationship is important for any negotiation? From your experience, why?
To get some trust from the other party.
Very good, trust. But why trust is important for negotiation? Yes?
So that you can reach a maximum benefit on both sides.
Very good. You can achieve the maximization of both parties. Always say a win-win solution. As both of you have already mentioned, win-win solution is our goal. But achieving the win-win solution, one of the important elements is you can share transparently the information honestly with your counterpart. If you know both parties, our concern, our bottom line, and then we can think about how to create a win-win solution together. But will you share all your information with someone you don't trust? Most of the time we won't, right? So first, a rational reason is because, win-win solution need to be based on trust. And then trust is based on relationship. If we build relationship and then it's a positive relationship, in the end, although trust, it can facilitate your win-win creation. But on the other hand, since we are talking about the rational reason, but are we always rational? No. So, sorry?
Relationship is the only way to bring emotion. Emotional only way sometimes to go over some rationale because
Yes.
you can have all the information in hand and the other person also has some information. But when you intervene with the emotion, is the only way sometimes to get out of a very conflictual situation.
So you are mentioning the importance of emotion, or we say the irrational elements in any negotiation. Yes, exactly. You guess. If I give you a quick example, you just guess. When you do shopping, you are buying things from a more rational reason or sometimes irrational behavior. Thinking about you buying for men, maybe a car, for female, maybe a bag. You think it's a reasonable, rational, process or sometimes combine the emotion and the feeling. If your answer is yes, and the negotiation is the same, we find that most of the time people didn't make decision at the negotiation table 100% according to the the hard data, the rational reason. Sometimes the emotion will influence their decision making. If you know someone and then you like someone, you have a good relation, good feeling, with someone, and then at the negotiation table, you may want to sacrifice a little bit so that your counterpart won't lose too much. It's not because of the economic gain, it's because of the emotion. So because of the two reasons, so that's why build relationship is very important before the negotiation, before your negotiation action, especially in the region now we are based, especially in Asia. According to the cross-cultural negotiation research result, people find that in Asia, or we say in Eastern Asia, in Southeast Asia, at the negotiation table, relationship will play a more important role than in the Western context. If we say the North America or in the in Europe, okay. So you need to build a relationship and then before any other action item. But what I would like to ask you is how did you build relationship? How did you build relationship before negotiation? From your experience. No? You didn't? What did you do? Give a treat. Have dinner together. Right? Is it your way? It's like this? In different culture, people may have different way to build relationship. So I won't talk about all the list now. But I just would like to share with you because we are international always, our marketing manager, director always want me to say we are global international school, but rooted in France. So I would like to give you some example about how relationship building in the different culture. First, in China, everyone knows that having drink together, have dinner together, or even go to some event together, it's a way to build relationship. But it is not a unique. It is not the we say the unique features in China. In the other culture, people may have the similar behavior or ideas. Let me share with you some ideas from France. In French, this expression is called "entre la boîte et le fromage." Is any French here? Yes. Okay. So I'm really happy to see our French friends. So can you explain a little bit what it means? Entre la boîte et le fromage. Entre la boîte, the P.
Entre la poire et le fromage.
So first, can you translate it to English?
Between the pear.
Pear, a sort of fruit.
And the cheese.
The cheese, yes.
Yeah.
Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire? What do you like to say?
Actually, I don't know.
Any French would like to help this lady? No? Come on, French.
Yeah.
Vive la France. Bien. Yes.
Perhaps it means that you address the action and the main important subject at the end of the relationship.
Do you deserve?
It's the dinner.
Almost at the end of the dinner, because at the French dinner, the cheese is almost at the end of the meal, right? So entre la boîte et le fromage means that almost at the end of the dinner. So as you have already shared with us, in French it means that it is a good timing to talk about the important things. Why? Because we have already shared some time together, a good time together. After l'entrée, entry, the main dish, principal, and then now it's a good time to talk about the important issue. So it means that even in the French culture, having meal together to build relationship and then to facilitate the conflict resolution is also embedded in the French culture. So it's not only for Chinese negotiator, for French negotiator, you also need to know how to entre la boîte et le fromage and then facilitate your negotiation with them. In your country, in your culture, you may have your own way to do so. How relationship will play the importance may be different in your country, in your culture. But no matter what, knowing build relationship before negotiation action is important for any negotiation. And then I would like to give you some more example from the French history, or we can say European history. For like François de Gallier, there's a very famous French diplomat several hundred years ago. He said that when you deal with when you when you try to resolve the conflicts with your brothers, you have to remember that between you and him, not only one fact is you have conflicts. You have to start from the other facts is you are brothers, right? You know what it means? It means that if you have conflicts with someone, try to think about the positive side first, which is you have some connection in the relationship. And then based on this, to deal with the tough part, you'll be easier. And then the third one is, meeting before correlation. As I say, you didn't merely negotiate with the one you can see. Sometimes you need to negotiate with the whole group away behind the negotiation table, right? So if you don't want to be the single enemy in front of them, you may want to find some alliance, build some alliance with the one, someone in your counterpart's organization. So coalition, try to find friends in your counterpart's organization. Second, sometimes you also need to find friends within your organization, right? Did you have this kind of experience that, sometimes you find that, your classmates, your colleagues, they are more difficult to negotiate than the clients. Is it possible? If you have this kind of feeling, you may know that, before you going out to negotiate externally, you need to negotiate internally to build coalition within the organization. So no matter externally or internally, you need to build a coalition before you really talk about the substance. So that's why according to our research result on the negotiation in the European Union, we found that in the European Union, most of the time they will negotiate as a European Union. So it means that 27, 28 member states all together to negotiation. But we found that the result has been all decided before everyone go to the negotiation table. Before the negotiation table, all the member states has already built a relationship, try to do the alliance. So at the negotiation table, it's only show the result of the coalition. So of course it's a more like we say extreme format of the negotiation. But it reminds us that before the negotiation, did you spend time to try to think about who are your friends within your organization? Who could be your friends in your counterpart's organization? And then can you build a coalition with them so they in the end they can push to have a yes at the negotiation table for you. So this is the third principle we would like to share with you. Most of the time, after around 40 minutes, it's in the middle of the presentation. I started knowing that someone may gradually falling into the sleep. So that's why most of the time I would try to inject interactive exercise to bring some lessons learned for you and for me, and then make us be able to proceed for another 40 minutes. So now to present the next principle, I would like to use an exercise called ping pong to try to help you and I to experience some key elements in any negotiation. So this exercise is very simple. This is the ball I created for you before the presentation. So the game is very simple. I threw the ball to someone, and then someone please threw it to someone else. So and then we did it for several times. But we need to remember the sequence. For example, like if I threw the ball to this gentleman, okay, you remember I threw the ball to this gentleman. Can you throw the ball to someone else? No, it's too short. So yeah.
Okay, you slide with the staff.
Okay, this gentleman. Let's go. Yeah. Oh. Okay, so this gentleman, can you take the ball? Yeah. So can you take the ball and then throw it to someone else? So we are not a good baseball player tonight. So can you give the ball back to this gentleman? Can you give it to someone? Anyway, okay, this gentleman. Oh, this lady. Sorry? The sequence. So me, this gentleman, and then that gentleman, and then now this lady. So can you give the ball back to someone else? Okay, this lady. Can you give it someone here? Okay, very good. Oh, can you give it back to me? Okay, we know the sequence, right? I'm the first. Who's the second? Who's the third? 4, 5, 6, 7, and then coming back to me, okay? Next is we need to do it as quick as possible. Now you know it's not that easy. Are you ready?
The same sequence?
The same sequence. Me, you. Ready for it? 100% ready? 1, 2, 3. Ah. Okay, give the ball back to the gentleman. Yes. Quick, quick. Oh. Ah. Okay, back to me. Back to me. So how can we improve the whole situation?
Everybody stand up.
Everybody stand up.
Sequence stand up. All those in sequence stand
Stand
up.
up and stand in a line right there.
Ah. Paul is my friend. He's a smart guy, I know. So can we all go out and then stand as a line? Is it okay? Can we go out here in the middle? Can we make a circle together? And then how to do it? Only passing the ball, or is there any other way we can do it? Can we do like this? And then you do like this? And then, no, you just touch it. Yeah, like this. Okay, and then you, here, yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you. Can we close? But more important is, what's the lessons learned for negotiation? Do you wanna share with your ideas about what's the lessons learned for the negotiation based on this exercise? Being creative on what? Very good. Creative, but on what?
Creating the right environment.
The right environment.
Bridging the distance.
Bridging the distance. Yes.
And the objectives of everyone is aligned towards a creative solution that they are trying to solve. That will be the way.
You're more thinking about the team building, as a team aligned with the objective. Okay. But what I want to say is, you look, we try to change the sequence, change the process, and then in the end, the result is different. So that's why, the fourth principle I would like to share with you is, to deal with the substance, you need to think about the process first. In any negotiation, the process is not a neutral element. Sometimes, process, and then, the process of how to meet together, how to solve the question, will influence the result itself. Let me give you some example. The French Minister of Foreign Affairs I shared with you, Ta-Wei, he is the one, play a very important role, in French history in 19th century. In 19th century, he, on behalf of France, to negotiate, in the Congress of Vienna. The Congress of Vienna is a, we can say, meeting or negotiation after Napoleon was defeated. All those, if you allow me to simplify it more, or a little bit more, we can say it is those winning countries in Europe would like to try to talk about how to divide it, how to divide France, because France losing the war, so everyone would like to take something from France. Of course, I'm a little bit simplified the whole complicated history, but let's try to think about things more or less like this. Ta-Wei, on behalf of France, to negotiate in this kind of meeting. It would be a tough negotiation because you should know that most of the time in the international negotiation, when the winning country negotiate with the losing country on how to deal with the post-war settlement, most of the time the process would be the winning country get together to think about how to divide the losing country. Okay, we divided your country to 3 parts, 2 parts to A, 1 part to C, and then the rest to the others, and then ask the losing country to come to the meeting room and say, do it. And then, finish the negotiation. But Ta-Wei knows that, if he follows the same process as usual, France have no chance, to protect their own interests. So he tried to bring, as I said, bring the wines, the French cook to Vienna, and then try to host parties to build relationship with those winning countries. But what he would like to persuade it is only can France participate in the negotiation in the beginning of the whole negotiation process? He didn't ask for, oh, come on, this is not to divide France, He didn't talk about the substance. He only tried to tell this winning country, come on, let France, be able to participate in the negotiation in the beginning. And then, because of the French wine and then, food is too good. So in the end, the winning country said yes to Ta-Wei. So Ta-Wei can really participate in the negotiation process in the beginning of the whole negotiation. And then afterward, because he can step in the beginning of the negotiation, he started using his skills to align with the different winning country. And then in the end, he changed the negotiation result. The France didn't lose a lot in this Vienna Congress. In the beginning, France may be divided to the different parts, and then all the winning country may share a pie from it. But because of Ta-Wei knows that changing the process will change the result. By changing the process, in the end, he protects the France's interests in the history. So it tells you that how process will influence our negotiation result, and then how we should think about the process. The idea is 5P. What is the negotiation process? Your meeting purpose? Who should be at the negotiation table? And then what's the really process or agenda? And then what's the final products we would like to have at this meeting? When we talk about agenda is also one part of the process, right? But I would like to ask you, if you have some very difficult issues or some easy issues at the negotiation table, in terms of the agenda, you would talk about the tough issue first or the easy issue first? Who didn't agree? Most of you say easy issue first. Is there anyone who think we need to start from the more tough issue first? No? And then I would like to ask you, so what's the possible risks of starting from the easy issues?
That the top issues are not resolved.
And then you may be too happy on the solving the easy issues, and in the end you didn't leave enough time for talking about the tough issues. So of course, you start from easy issues first. It's good to create momentum for your dealing with your tough issue later. But the possible risks is if you didn't control your time well, you may not be able to leave enough time to solve the tough issue. But if we start from the tough issue first, what's the pros and cons? Sorry?
Alienate.
Which mean?
Break down the communication.
Yes, because if we didn't have an agreement for the tough issue, we even are not able to have an agreement on the easy issue. But the pro is you may have enough time to deal with the most tough part of the whole dispute. So no matter you choose which format, you need to understand the agenda setting will also influence your negotiation result.